Hey everybody, today we're going to learn about how to differentiate between incomplete dominancy and co-dominancy. Okay, here let us recall together about incomplete dominancy that we talked about last time. We said that in incomplete dominancy, I have a certain trait. The two alleles in this trait are not completely dominant over each other. That is, no one of them is dominant over the other, so no one of them is going to be masked by the other. Rather, when I cross these two flowers, for example, the red flower with the white flower, I'm going to get a new third phenotype in the offsprings, which is the pink or the purple color. If you notice here in the offsprings, neither red is expressed nor white is expressed, but a third new phenotype, again I'm going to say, which is the pink color. As if I have mixed the two colors, red and white, to give me something in between, which is the pink color, as if it's a process of a blending of the alleles. Another example, we may have in a certain plant blue and yellow alleles. If I'm going to blend them together, that is, when I'm going to cross them together, they are going to give me a new phenotype that is in between these two colors, which is the green. Here, let us compare again between Mendelian heredity and non-Mendelian heredity, or Mendelian traits and non-Mendelian traits. If you remember, in Mendelian traits, in all the traits studied by Mendel, when he crossed two alleles, or in a certain trait, two alleles, he's going to get one of these alleles to be appeared in the offsprings. For example, when he crossed the red color flower with the white colored flower, he had got in all F1 red colored flowers. So here in this case, the red is dominant over the white, that is, the white is masked. This is in the case of Mendelian heredity. But in the case of non-Mendelian heredity, as I mentioned in the above picture, when we cross the red flower with white flower, neither red nor white appeared in the offsprings of F1. Rather, pink color appeared, which is a new phenotype. Also, another example, real example in plants is in the tulip flower. In the tulip flower, we have for the color of the petals two alleles in nature, red and white. When we cross these two flowers, we're going to get pink flower again. What is co-dominant traits, or what is co-dominancy? In co-dominant traits, we have again two alleles, where both of these alleles are going to be expressed in the phenotype when they coexist in the genotype. If you noticed in incomplete dominancy, no one of the two alleles is expressed, but what I had, something in between white and red, which was pink. Here, this is an example of co-dominancy. In this example, we're going to talk about the camellia flower. This is another real example in plants. In the camellia flower, for the color of the petals, we have two alleles in nature, white and red. When we cross these two flowers together, what we're going to get in F1 actually, red and white camellia. Meaning I didn't have a red flower, not white flower, and not something in between actually, as in the previous example, which is the pink. Rather, I have the two colors expressed. No one of them masks the other. Meaning in codominancy, the two alleles are codominant, meaning they have the same strength. No one is going to hide the other, to mask the other. So they have the same strength, so they are going to appear in the phenotype together when they appear or when they coexist in the genotype. Another example of codominancy, we're going to talk about a trait in animals now, which is in the cows. In the color of the hair of the cows, we have two alleles, white and brown. When we cross a white cow with a brown cow, what we're going to get is a cow having white color with some patches of a brown color. So again, the two colors expressed here in the offsprings, both of these colors appeared. No one of them is going to mask the other, and I'm not going to have something new which is in between. Here I have something new in the offsprings, but it's a blending between the two alleles. So here, when I say I have this cow, white cow with brown patches, actually this is a new third phenotype, but where the two alleles are going to coexist. This is a real picture of such cows. Also, another example in animals in order to understand codominancy more and more. Here in the feather or the color of the feathers in the chickens, we have two alleles in nature. One is the white color, the other is the black color. When I cross again the white chicken with the black chicken, I'm going to have a new third phenotype in the offsprings, but this time again both alleles or both colors are going to be expressed. So I'm going to get a speckled chicken. That is, this is a chicken that having black color with white spots, if you notice. In this case, pay attention that we're going to deal with the alleles in codominancy in the same way as in complete dominancy. I mean in incomplete dominancy. For example, for the white phenotype, it's going to be expressed by genotype WW, black BB, but again the W and the B are going to be expressed with capital letters, meaning the symbols of the main alleles are going to be expressed with capital letters as in the case of incomplete dominancy. So in order to have a speckled chicken, we're going to have one capital B allele and another white allele, capital Y allele. So to have this speckled chicken, the genotype is going to be capital BW or capital WB. It's the same. Here let us see what happened in such an example. Here we're going to suppose that I have crossed black chicken with white chicken. Since this is a case of codominancy, so I'm going to symbolize the alleles or express the alleles with capital letters. Capital B for the black, W, capital W for the white. The result is going to be offsprings with capital B, W as a genotype. All of the offsprings are going to have genotype capital B, capital W, and the phenotypes of these chickens is going to be speckled, that is white spotted with black or black spotted with white. Which is which? Let us see whether you have understood the differences between incomplete dominancy and codominancy. Here you have two flowers, two kinds of flowers. In your opinion, this pink flower is under incomplete dominancy is covered by incomplete dominancy or co-dominancy. And the other one, which has red color with some white patches, okay, is this under or governed by incomplete dominancy or co-dominancy? Think of it. Actually, you can infer now that the pink one is an example of incomplete dominancy, whereas the other one, which has red and white color, is called co-dominant. Okay, here let us recall together the three kinds of inheritance. Complete dominancy, which we mentioned about it as Mendelian genetics, and the two kinds of non-Mendelian genetics, co-dominance and incomplete dominance. In complete dominancy, I have two alleles. One is dominant over the other, so the other is recessive. So the other is masked by the dominant. In non-Mendelian genetics, we have two kinds, co-dominance and incomplete dominance. In co-dominance, both alleles are dominant. Traits from both alleles show in the phenotype. For example, here you can infer that in this dot flower, in the color of the dot flower, I have two alleles, blue and yellow. If it's a case of co-dominancy, meaning I'm going to have a flower like this, having the two colors at the same time, blue and yellow, so both alleles are expressed. If it's a case of incomplete dominance, meaning neither allele is dominant, a blend of the two alleles is expressed in the phenotype, that is something in between. In between what? In between the yellow and the blue, so I'm going to have the green dot flower. Here, let us recall together again as if we are summarizing the three kinds of inheritance. If I'm going to consider that in this dot flower, I have in nature two alleles which are blue and yellow. If it's a case of complete dominance, when I cross the blue with yellow, it's supposed to have in the offspring one of these two colors. For example, here we suppose that the blue color is going to appear. This means what? That the blue is dominant in this case over the yellow, so yellow is recessive. This is a case of complete dominancy. If it's a case of co-dominancy, when I'm going to cross the blue flower with the yellow one, I'm going to get a new phenotype, a third new phenotype. If you notice here in the offsprings, but the two colors are expressed. The two colors are going to coexist, which is blue and yellow flower. If it's a case of incomplete dominancy, when I'm going to cross the blue with the yellow, a third new phenotype here is going to appear, but neither of the two colors is going to be expressed in the offsprings. No one of them is going to appear. Rather, a third new phenotype different from both parents, which is the green color, which is something in between the two colors, as if I have blended or mixing the two colors together. I hope that you have differentiated in this session between co-dominancy and incomplete dominant. Actually, in the next session, in the next video number 10, we're going to continue talking about co-dominancy, but this time we're going to talk about co-dominancy in humans. Specifically, we're going to talk about blood groups. Till I meet you next time, I hope that you're going to stay home and keep safe. See you. Bye.